The Cupra is the cooler half-brother to the Volkswagen and Skoda. Obviously, a lot happened in 2024, where Cupra launched the Terramar, based on the new Volkswagen Tiguan, the same base platform that is. And in this review, I'm going to explain why this Cupra Terramar Plug-in Hybrid is the best of what the current automotive world has to offer, but also in some ways the worst. And what I mean by worst, I'll explain in this review. Let's talk design and this very unique exterior, and I think it is actually unique in a good way. This looks like a Cupra with all the creases, all the shapes that you might need. But look at the shape of this car. It has a very long bonnet, a lot of heft to the front. It has that SUV coupe shape, of course, that is very common nowadays. But it definitely looks like a Cupra and stands out in the current VAG lineup. And what is this power plant? Well, this is the plug-in hybrid 1.5 liter turbocharged engine coupled with a battery and an electric engine. Produces just over 270 horsepower and 400 newton meters. Over 120 kilometers of pure electric range, 11 kilowatt charging, up to 50 kilowatt fast charging. That is damn impressive, but the power is sent to only the front wheels. This is one of the most aggressive engine configurations that I can get, but if you want something even more aggressive, you have the 2-liter turbocharged E888 derivative that gives you power to all four wheels. With this plug-in hybrid, there's one drawback. You don't get as much storage space, just around 400 liters. If you go for the non-plug-in hybrid version, you get over 500. Welcome to the rear compartment and a very dark interior, even though you have some chrome or copper accents on the side, here in the headrest. And you do have some colors on the side doors as well. The leather is very, very nice. I love the copper stitching. The seats are fairly comfortable, but the angle of them currently is very high. You can move the seats backwards and forwards, but right now they are as far back as possible. I do have enough knee space, some foot space, and I actually have some lower thigh support, and I fit with my head. And all in all, it's a very comfortable place to be in. If you can move the whole seat backward, which you can, but I have not figured it out. Let's see here. Yes. You can actually move the seats very, very far back to make it a very relaxing riding experience. And that is one thing that I think stands out in this Cupra Terramar. This is a VAG product, so it has a lot of infotainment systems and digital features that are from VAG, but the digital gauge cluster looks distinctly Cupra, very different in a good way. Then you have the infotainment system that is new, and let's see how quick it is. Fairly quick. The navigation also decent. You have the charging with all of your necessary information there. You can have hybrid mode or electrical mode. In hybrid mode, you can even keep the battery level. So if you have 50% charge and you absolutely need to have 50% charge when you get to somewhere, you will have that. If you're going to drive modes, you have comfort, performance, and Cupra, and that will of course change the way the car behaves. The higher the level, the stiffer and more aggressive it will be. It will even give you some unique sounds. This is a weird powertrain. It's not a bad one. It actually embodies everything that is good with hybrid engines and hybrid systems right now. You have an amazing pure electric range, over 100 kilometers. The combined power output in this version is just over 270 horsepower. So there's umph for this Cupra Terramar. But there are some questions about how well calibrated this hybrid system is. If you are in pure electric and you want to drive away from a standstill or at slower speeds, it's very, very, very difficult to apply that engine smoothly. It is quite aggressive in how it comes on, and I tried so many times to drive away smoothly, but there's just a lump of power that kicks in just a little bit too aggressive for my liking. The car will always try to be in pure electric and cancel the petrol engine. So even though I'm in the most aggressive setting, which I am right now, it will still be in pure electric. And even if I'm moving away, the petrol engine dies. This braking pedal, I do not understand it. It's super long, it's quite heavy, but the engagement is extremely weird. Nothing happens in the beginning, you're applying, and then it happens. And it's quite scary in case you need to brake a little bit more than you used to. So it's a very weirdly tuned braking pedal. It could have been so amazing, but these little things just brings down the driving experience. They are annoyances that you do not want in a car that costs as much as this one does. The steering is very much on the lighter side, but the plug-in hybrid system giving you a very decent range, and if you charge it up with electricity you will hardly hear that quite puny 4-banger. So it's not the most aggressive power plant, but it is a very efficient one. So take that into consideration when you are looking at the Terramar lineup. This is the plug-in hybrid, long range, a little bit more powerful front-wheel drive one. But luckily the steering can be stiffened up by pressing this button on the left-hand side of the steering wheel. So normal, sport, and even Cupra. There's also individual, of course. Depending on which specification you are choosing, you get 2 reservoir dampers, and that of course improves the handling even more. But generally this Terramar, it feels like a quite big car. Base platform, it shares the same base platform as the new Volkswagen Tiguan. So in many ways it is the same, and I would not buy this because it feels different compared to Volkswagen. I would buy this because of the styling and the uniqueness that this actually has compared to a lot of its sister products. So, what are my conclusions for this new Cupra Terramar, and especially this plug-in hybrid alternative? Well, it has a great pure electric range, and you have the petrol power plant that is also very well refined. It's a good hybrid powertrain. Not the most accelerating, especially if the battery runs out, then it's very lethargic. And the price category that this plug-in hybrid alternative puts it in is very high. And that puts it into a level that requires Cupra to deliver everything from the high up to the lowest or tiniest details, such as how the electric powertrain is delivered, the brakes. And those are not exactly up to par with what I think this Cupra should be, especially at the price category. But that is my final conclusion for this Cupra Terramar.